Good morning, my friends, and welcome back to another segment of Hanging with the Boss Lady. I am your host, the Boss Lady herself, Cheryl Jones, aka that little old country girl, and I am feeling wonderful this morning. I am literally on cloud nine, and I hope you all are feeling wonderful as well. I have a wonderful show in store for you today. Are you ready? Are you really ready? Come on, let's go. Let's get started. Okay, here we go. If you're wondering what in the world has her so excited today, it's because I'm thinking about my wonderful family. I have some of the funniest, craziest, wackiest kids you can imagine. When we all get together, we have the most fantastic time. There's never a dull moment when my family gets together. And even if I'm with just one of them, there's always a hilarious moment, a funny story, a crazy antic that they are performing that just keeps me laughing. I love my children so much. What about you, friend? Do you have children? I can imagine that you have plenty of stories that you could share. Many wonderful stories that you could tell that would have us sitting on the end of our seats, literally tears streaming down our face, laughing at some of the wonderful moments that you could share with us. As I think about those moments, I think about down through the years, all the times that we've had together as they're growing up. I love my children. I love children. I've always worked with children, even in the church. I worked with the youth department, the youth choir. We used to put on skits and plays. We had a vacation Bible school at one time at our church, and every day the neighborhood children would come. And I can remember all those days where we get the lunches. They would get the sandwiches. They would get the little small cafeteria milks. We would get bananas, sometimes the little baby bananas and sometimes the big bananas. And they would get the vouchers and we would take them on trips to the park, to sometimes Coney Island, sometimes to the beach. And we would have so much fun. I love children. And now God has blessed me with 11 grandchildren. Isn't that wonderful? The thing that I love so much about life, I'm surrounded by. I have grandchildren living here with me in North Carolina. I have grandchildren in New York. I have just a wonderful, large, big family. And you know what I have done, my friend? I have literally submerged my entire self in my family. And although I'm feeling so blessed and giddy about it because my family brings me much pleasure, we have a very, very good relationship. I'm also thinking about what I just said. I have totally submerged my entire self into my family. And I'm going to ask a question to you, my friend. Do you think that's a good thing? That is what I want to talk about today. When we submerge all of ourselves into our children, is that a good thing or a bad thing? And if we do, when do we come up for air? That's one of the questions that make you say, Now, as I begin to think about my children, I have been bountifully blessed. My children are respectful, they're fiercely independent, they're very responsible, and they are very caring. They have children of their own, and I just love sitting back and watching the love and care and support that they pour into their own children. And to God be the glory, I'm so happy to know that they learned that from me. I grew up in a two-parent household. It was my mom and my dad. My father was a long-distance truck driver, and my mom, stay-at-home mom, she used to work as a nurse's aide at Unity Hospital in New York, but she retired and she stayed home with us. I had a very close relationship with my mom, and she and I were like twins. Everywhere we went, everyone would say, "You look exactly like your mom." And I tell you, my mother was my heart. So the support factor that I passed on to my children, I received from my mother. Now, my children, I have 4 biological children and I have 5 adopted children. Now, all of my children, they were raised in a single parent household with me. I gave them all the love that I could muster. I love children. I worked overnight and I had support from my parents. So on the days that I worked overnight, we lived in the same house. So my mom would keep an eye on them, see to it that they woke up in the morning and went to school on time. And when I came home from work, they were already out of the house. So I would get rest and be ready when they came home from school to oversee the homework aspect, to make sure they had dinner, make sure their clothes were clean, rooms were clean, and they were ready for the next day. So all of this I grew up with and they grew up with. However, the flip side of that is the fun we had. Oh my goodness, especially on the weekends, on the days and the summer times, on the days when they would wake up early in the morning and I'm just gotten off work. As soon as I would see the sun coming up, I would tell them, get dressed, be ready when I get home because we're going out today. We would go and spend the whole day at the park. We would go to the zoo. Oh my gosh, we had so much fun. And I love submersing myself into my children. I absolutely loved it. So much so to the point that the disappointment that I had in relationship with a soulmate or a companion, it was fine because I was content with just living for my children. And I want to ask you, my friend, is that a good thing for us to do? To just live for our children? And I find that many people do that. And as wonderful as it is to have children, I have to say, friend, that it is not good for us to completely lose ourselves as we love our children. It is not good. Yes, it's beautiful that we love them, but we have to know when to draw the line. And that's what my segment about is today. It's how not to lose yourself in loving your children. It's not a good thing. It's wonderful that you love them because, yes, we hear so many horror stories of people who have decided they don't want to be a parent anymore, or someone who has come across a very difficult time in their mind where they harm their children. So when you love your children, protect them, raise them, it's beautiful. But we have to make sure that in the process of raising our children to be functioning, independent, stable individuals, we have to remember not to lose ourselves in the process, because we raise our children to one day be able to stand out and live on their own. And then what? Once your children get to the point where they will want to go and live their own life in their own home, in their own, with their own family, what are we going to do then if all we know is them? We have to know how to balance it out so that as we are raising them, we are not completely getting out of touch with how to make our own selves happy, of how to go on and live our life when they go on to live their life. We have to be careful to keep it even. And I'm going to share with you some ideas and some tips on how to do exactly that. As I said, I have a very, very good relationship with my children. And I also notice that my children go beyond and above for their children. And I sometimes intercede and step in and let them know that sometimes they need to just stop and do something just for themselves. It's important. And the reason I'm bringing it up, it's because I myself am guilty of what I'm talking about. I literally put my life on hold. Let me tell you something that I used to say. When many times I would get invitations to go out and enjoy life, I would say, I'm not worried about me. I have taken Cheryl and put her up on a shelf, and she can stay right there. All I want to do is just enjoy my children. Isn't that sad? I really said that. I said I took me and put me up on the shelf. All of my desires, I just literally just took me and put me away. Everything that I did, every decision that I made, all the money that I made, everything was to support my children. And understand this, and I know many of you can relate to what I'm saying. It's for various reasons that we do that. It could be because you were hurt and you have decided that you are going to protect yourself so you don't get hurt like that anymore. So you do not allow yourself to even embark down the path where it can possibly happen again. So you safeguard your heart, you safeguard your feelings, you put yourself in a little box and you put it away. And that is not fair to you. It's wonderful that your children have your love and your support, but my friend, you cannot, you should not sacrifice all of yourself for your children, because one day your children, if everything goes the way you are trying to make it go, that they are functioning independent individuals that will be able to one day get out into the world and live their own life, then what's going to happen to you? One day you're going to look around and you'll have an empty nest, and you will just turn round and round in circles, because then the children and the grandchildren will be gone, and you'll say, I don't know what to do. I haven't done anything for me in so long, I don't even know where to start. I don't even know how to do anything for myself anymore. So what we have to learn how to do is to even the playing field. Make yourself a priority, and don't ever lose yourself in the love that you have to give for others. Always make sure that you take care of you first, because it's wonderful that they have your support, but if you neglect to take care of yourself and one day you're not there, what's going to happen to them? Because they can become so dependent on you, always making sure that all the T's are crossed and all the I's are dotted, that they won't know how to do it for themselves. There's a funny TikTok that goes around of children who are growing to the age where they should know how to speak for themselves, and they'll go to the doctor. They may be 15, they may be 13, they may be 19, and the doctor will say, okay, what is your date of birth? And that individual will look at the parent, and the parent will have to say what their date of birth is. And the doctor will say, okay, what are we here for today? And then that child will look at the parent so the parent can tell the doctor. And then the doctor will say, well, what is since the last time that you felt like this? And they will look at the parent. It's funny. It's funny when you're looking at it because it's so relatable. When you have children that are so dependent on you to do every single little thing, trust me, when it's time for them to do it, they won't know what to do. So you will find yourself and them in positions when you do finally part ways for them to go out and live their life that they won't know how to because they're so used to you doing it, and you won't know what to do because you're so used to having someone else besides yourself to do something for. So, my friend, there has to be a change. We have to always make sure that we are a priority. Now, before I get into sharing some little tips of how you can make sure that you don't lose yourself in the process of raising your children, let me just say this. It does not make you selfish. It does not make you uncaring. It makes you smart, because as life goes on and we grow up, we are supposed to grow into independent, functioning adults. Someone who can branch out and have a family of their own, so you can sit back and look at them as they grow and just become proud of what they have grown into, and know that you and God had something to do with that. So in order for you to be able to feel that and see that, understand that it's nothing wrong with you doing something for yourself in the meantime so that you can be alive and functioning and well when they decide to branch out. Don't forget about yourself. You have earned it. Listen, for anyone who has raised children, know that it is not an easy thing to do. You have that personality that you are helping to shape. And children, especially children from this generation, are something else. Okay? And as your children are growing, you will see that it's not a picnic. It's not a walk in the park sometimes. You have to really exert some serious, hard talk with them to make them know that, no, we're not doing this, we're not doing that. And it's 24/7, year after year after year after year after year after year that you endure with it. So as this process is going on and they go from 1 year old to 5 to 13 to 16, and all the different things they encounter in the world that they attempt to bring into your home, where you have to let them know they might do that in their house, but you're not going to do it here. And you let them know this is necessary. You have to do this. You have to keep your clothes clean. You have to keep your room clean. You have to help with the chores in the house. I'm not giving you all of my money. And you let them know we all go into the house of worship. You need to give God praise for how He has kept you. And you make them understand this person is not good for you. It's a bad influence. And you need to learn how to do your own hair. And you need to learn how, and all these things all along coming up. And sometimes there are days when all you hear is, mommy, mom, mom, mommy, mom, mommy, mom, mom. You know, you hear this constantly over and over again, and it can wear on your very nerve. But you endure it. So when you get to the point where they are now, it's, Mom, I love you. Thank you for everything. Thank you for everything. I appreciate you. Okay, we'll call you when we get there. And then when you shut the door and you lock it and you turn around and you are alone, do not break down and cry, because now you have nothing to do. So what can you do to prevent that moment? Here are some tips of how, during the course of you raising your children, that you do not lose yourself. The first thing is make your voice heard. Speak your mind. Don't be afraid to share your opinion. This is important as you are raising up your children, because if you feel like, no, if I say that, it'll upset them and then they'll be angry with me and I don't want them to be angry, so I'll just let them go ahead and do it. If you get used to not ever speaking your mind, you will no longer be in charge. They will be the ones who is running the house, who's running everything, where you might say, no, they really shouldn't do that, but I know them, and I know if I tell them they shouldn't do that, they're going to get upset and they probably won't speak for me. They're going to go in their room and slam the door, and you get used to walking around, always paying all the bills, buying all the food, supplying all the clothes, supplying all the support, but you have a muzzle on your mouth and you don't speak, and you get used to being in the position where you don't have a say on anything. You have to be willing and able to say, excuse me, we are not doing this today. And if they object, say, okay, that's how you feel, that's fine, but I have the last word and I say no. And when you stand your ground and make sure that they know who you are and you don't mind letting them know who you are and reminding them who you are and setting the rules and setting the motion and the atmosphere for where you're going to live and how you are going to live, it turns out so much better for you, because you won't find yourself one day in a position where you won't know how to express yourself. See, everything that we do is learned behavior. If you get used to not ever speaking up and letting your thoughts and your opinions be known, especially in a place where you are in charge, when you wake up one day and you see that they're gone, you still won't know how to speak up. And it'll become part of your everyday existence. And that's not something that you should get used to. The second thing that you can do to make sure that you don't get lost as you raise your children is this: get away. Get away. Get used to sometimes just taking the weekend off, especially if you have children who are, teenagers, and they are responsible enough to be able to be in the house overnight. Just go and spend a night in a hotel so that you don't have to have someone knocking on your door every 5 minutes if you're in your room trying to relax. Mom, can I ask you a favor? Mom, can we do this here? Mom, what happened to? Mom, I'm hungry. Mom, what are we going to eat? Mom, I can't find this. Mom, what did you say about that? You need a mom-free day sometimes where you are not called every 5 minutes. And there's a lot of places that you can go. You don't have to go to a hotel, and you don't have to go and spend the night. Maybe you want to go just while they're in school. Say, you know what? I need a break. I need somebody to take care of me for a change. Go get a spa visit. Go to a spa and have them put you in the aromatherapy room with this nice music, and they're just kneading all of the tense muscles. And go and get your hair done. Go get your nails and your feet done. Go get some pampering just for you. Or go shopping. Go shopping and do what? Splurge on you. It doesn't matter what it is that they need on this particular day. I'm only getting something for me. Listen, I have 2 daughters that live with me, and I'm constantly telling them, here, this is for you. Go shopping. Don't let me see you come back even with a soda for your children. Don't get anything for them. This is for you and you alone. Because my children have just completely erased the line where they have boundaries and borders around them. Everything is about their children. And they say they can't help it. They say and when they go out, they say, I'm going to do this for me. I need this. And when they come back, they got stuff in the back. I'm say, what is that? They say, I know I wasn't supposed to. I just couldn't help it. I saw this and I said, you know what? You're you're helpless, and eventually, sometimes they even take it back. I said, take it back. They don't need it. They don't need it. If your children has 30 shirts, why are you getting them another one? So they can add it to the pile when they just take and toss it off and throw it in the corner? Trust me, teenagers today are outrageous. I take it back. I was going to say I have never seen children, young adults, people just trash their rooms and walk around it like it's nothing. But I have to take it back because I was born in 1957. My oldest brother was born in 1956. And my youngest brother was born in 1958. And I'm telling you, they are exactly like some of the young people that I know today, that I've seen their rooms. I've seen it. I have seen it. And it's mind-boggling. And I say to my daughters, why? Why are you giving them more when you know what they're going to do? Get something for you. You deserve it. So that's the second thing. Get away. Get away and do something just for yourself so you don't lose yourself. There comes a time when you have to remember that I matter. I care. And one day, these wonderful cherubs that God has blessed you with will move on to their life. And you don't want to be stuck and lost about what to do. And you may one day stand up and say, you know what? I haven't shopped for myself in about 10 years. And then you go out and you don't know where to start. Now, I don't get out much because of my handicap. And on the days that I do get out, let me tell you something. I usually send a list and I tell my daughters what I need and they get it and bring it for me. But on the rare occasions that I do venture out and I sit in that motorized cart and I go around, when they have a list, they go directly to the object, get it and come out. Me, I start at aisle 1 and I don't stop until I'm at aisle 12. I go up and down the aisle, and of course I end up spending more money than I intend to. But this is what I tell them to do. I tell them, go and splurge on yourself. Take your time. Walk up and down the aisles. Just lose yourself and just enjoy doing something just for you. I can remember that my girlfriend and I, when we were in our younger days, way before the children were born, we used to go shopping in McCrory's and stores like Mays in downtown Brooklyn before all of those stores changed. And we would spend so much money thinking about what we were going to buy. We didn't have any money. But we would say, oh, I'm going to get this. In our minds, we would spend thousands of dollars. And if that's something that would help you to just brush off the fact that, okay, I'm a parent, just say, I'm me and I'm going to spoil me. Even if you don't spend the money, go and window shop. Spend millions window shopping. Okay, and you'll just come away. Of course, you'll come away with a longing, wishing that you had the money, but you will have spent time, valuable, priceless time on you. And then the third thing is this: keep your hobbies. As you have children, you become engrossed in your children, especially in the beginning where you have your first child and you look at that beautiful, beautiful baby with those tiny fingers and that beautiful smile that comes on their face. And you just get totally immersed in the raising and the loving and the pampering of this child. And as time goes on, as they grow, so does your love for this child. And everything about them is the only thing that's important in your life. However, do not let go of who you were, even as you have added parent to your resume. You are a parent, but you are still a person. Whatever hobbies that you had, keep your hobbies. Keep your identity. Don't lose your identity as you raise up your children. If you were into arts and crafts, keep painting, keep drawing, keep sewing. If you did crocheting, keep crocheting. Okay, whatever it was that you did, continue to do that. If you love to golf, always take time to golf. If you are close to other family members, tell your mom or your sister or your best friend, keep the baby for me for an hour. I just need to go out and golf a little bit. I don't know what they call it. I've never golfed. They say shoot some holes or something like that. I don't know. Whatever it is, that you called it, go out and do that. If you are into gardening, in the afternoon while the baby's taking a nap and they're sitting right there in the bassinet inside the doorway, nice and covered up so the mosquitoes can't get to them, go on out into the garden and tend to your flowers. It's very therapeutic. So whatever hobby it is that you indulged in, do not lose that. Hold on to that part of your identity, because God willing, your job will pay off to the point where one day your children will decide, I have found my soulmate. I have found the person that just makes me want to be all that I can be. And they decide to separate themselves from you as far as your living quarters, and they want to go out and start their own life. And then you find yourself standing, turning in circles, wondering, what about me? We want to avoid that what about me moment, and we want you to always feel that there is more to life than just submersing yourself into someone else. And that's all I have for today, and I hope that you enjoy this, and I would love to hear your comments and your feedback on what I said today. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button, share, leave a comment, and be sure to subscribe if you have not already done so. And I thank you so much for taking time out of your day to listen to me as I shared my thoughts. I appreciate each and every one of you. I thank you so much for helping to encourage me to see that you listened, and I want to do more. But the only way I can do it is if I get feedback from you, if you let me know if you like the direction I'm going in. So as I go and continue on with the rest of my day, I want you to do the same. And I pray that all is well with you. And until we meet again, may the Lord God bless you real good. Boss Lady out.